Hey everybody, welcome back to Mixing Music Analog and mixingmusicanalog.com. Here we are on the YouTube channel. We got our good buddy back up from New York, David S.J. Welcome back, brother.
Hey, thanks,
to the party. So David's here today.
Nice to be here again.
Yeah, we're doing some videos today. And this one is the first one we're doing today. And this one is, I mean, I don't know what to say that this is cool.
This is extremely cool.
This is really cool. This is a piece of gear that is called a low-end shaper. We're going to talk all about that today. This is by the company Zombie Rec Pro Audio Equipment. You can check out their website. Link will be in the description box. This is the, what is this called? The Mammut?
Mammut.
The Mammut. I like calling it the Man-Mutt, but it's a Mammut, which is what, German for mammoth?
German for mammoth.
Cool. This is a low-end shaper. This is specifically designed to work on the low ends of your tracks, mixes, etc. And we're going to listen to it today in a bunch of different sources. So we will say two things up front. Number one, this is not a sponsored video, although this is on loaner. Raphael sent it over to me and said, go ahead and check it out. You dig it, make some videos, but we're not being paid. We're not being given the unit. I have to send it back or buy it. Which, after you hear this thing,
it's going to be a hard call.
It's going to be hard not to buy it. So it's not sponsored. Number two, this will be one video. We'll do at least 2 or 3 videos on this. This time around, we're going to go through the settings, give you a basic overview of it. We're not going to get too down deep into the inner workings of this thing. There's already some great videos on YouTube, which I will link in the description box below, both by Zombie Rec and by our friend over there at Mixbus TV, David, where they really walk through the controls and really explain in detail. Those videos, we probably can't do a video explaining it as well as it's already been explained.
We're never going to do it as well as David did.
So we want you to just really let you listen to it and give you our initial reaction. We've only played with it for about 10 or 15 minutes. That's what we like to do here. Give you our initial reaction, what you need to do.
We were mainly trying to figure out what all the buttons do.
What all the buttons do and how to listen to it on a bunch of different sources, which we're going to do. So we will do a follow-up videos where we actually pull up a raw mix and mix into it. We'll do a set of videos on that at a later time. Also, make sure you're listening to this using good studio monitors, would preferably a subwoofer or a really good set of headphones where you can hear the low end extension. Because if you listen to this on an iPhone or an iPad or a set of buds, you're probably not going to really get the appreciation for what the hell this thing is doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Agreed.
Okay. So that's what we're going to do. So we have the hardware, which you'll see somewhere on the screen. And what's beautiful about this right out of the gate with an Ethernet cable, you can control everything here from this plugin, which is what we're going to do. I love when companies do that. Makes it so much nicer to work with. But I will say, without us using hands-on on the unit is built like a tank. All the knobs are metal or aluminum. It's built rock solid. It's a high quality piece of equipment. You pick this thing up, it's heavy and it's built like a tank.
Yeah,
okay?
really nice soft touch button.
Right, and everything that you do on the plugin, you will see on the hardware, it is all going to respond just like any other digitally controlled sort of unit. So before we listen to this on some drums and on a couple of different source material like pop and dance and blues and country and that kind of stuff, full mixes, let's kind of walk through the basic layout of what this thing is all about. So we start from left to right. The signal runs right through this thing left to right as you would expect. We start off with a high pass filter and we have 15, 21, 26, 31, 34, 44. So you can tell right away this thing is really designed for the low end, right? So if you really want to lop off anything below where typically a kick drum and stuff lives 40 to 60 hertz, you got 3, you got 4 frequency points before you even hit 44.
Yeah, it's very tunable.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and again, whether you're putting this on a master bus or whether you're running it on a drum bus or something like that, you could turn it on and off here. Okay. We also have 12 dB per octave roll off is what it's defaulted at, but we also can hit 18 dB if you want more of a sharp drop off the corner frequency of the high pass filter. Okay. Now, next to this, we have the variable shelf EQ, and this is one of the unique features of this. We have a low frequency and a high frequency, and you'll notice that the frequencies are identical: 26 hertz, 34, 44, 53, 72, 105. So the way this is designed to work, and you can read this in the manual as well, is this is kind of a push-pull type of a shelving EQ. Whereas if you're setting the low, let's say at 26 hertz, that is where the beginning of the low end boost is going to begin. And then wherever the high frequency is set, that's where it's going to end. So it's like you're almost picking your low point and your high point of where you want the boosting to occur. And then the more narrow or the closer the frequencies are between the low and the high, let's say between 34 and 44, that's going to give us a little bit more of a sharper bell, if you will, right?
Yes.
And if you spread it out more from like 26 to say 106, that's going to give you a more broad, kind of a gentle kind of a boost, similar to like a Pultec kind of a thing, where it's more wide and it's a little more gentle. It's not so pointy. So it really gives you the ability, and it's very unique, I guess, in the way that you can really control and really shape the low end based on these two frequency points, right? Okay.
Yes.
Then we have our gain here for that boost here or cut. We can go plus or minus 3 dB. Okay. So it's not a huge booster cut, but when you really dial this in, it's got a lot of impact, which we're going to hear. Next to that, we have our crossover point. Now, the way the crossover point where it works is anything, you have 85, 100, 125, 200. Whatever frequency you pick for the crossover point, let's say in this example, we're at 125. So anything from 125 and below, that is what's going to get processed in the second half of this processor, which is the compressor and expander, which we'll talk about in a minute. Okay, so think of it like that. If you had this set to 200, that means everything 200 and below is going to get processed through the compressor expander. If it's on a stereo bus, anything above 200 is not going to be affected by the compressor and the expander. So you can think of it as anything above 200 hertz, because that's the highest crossover point, that and up is not going to get processed by the compressor and the expander, right? It's running through the machine. So you're running through the transformers and you're running through the whole analog circuitry, but you're not compressing, you're not expanding, you're not doing anything above that 200 hertz, okay? Or whatever frequent crossover point you pick. We have a listen button, which we'll demonstrate in a second, which allows you to hear the crossover point and what's being affected by the compressor and the expander, which again, we will demonstrate. You have a threshold here, which is, the pretty standard control on a compressor. Now, from this point forward, this is kind of the second half of the unit where we can turn on the compressor and expander with this button here. We could keep it off, not do any compression and expanding, which we'll demonstrate. And you can just deal with the EQ shelving for the boost of the low end if that's what you want to do. Or you can turn on the compressor right here, and that's going to kind of turn on the processing for this second half of the unit. We can go in compression mode, or we can go in expand mode, and we will show you what the in a second when you're in compression, you'll see the gain reduction meters are in red, and when it's in expand mode, they're blue. Again, we'll demonstrate all of that. Here's our beautiful gain reduction meter or expansion meter here in the center. We have a hard bypass here to bypass the whole unit, so we can do an A/B before and after, which we will do. We have a soft knee and a hard knee on the compression expander. And then next to that, we have the makeup gain. So when we're in compression mode, not expansion mode, this works like a typical makeup gain, where we can go 6 dB plus 6 dB, right?
Yeah, it gives you a maximum of 6 dB boost.
Boost in compression mode. When you have this in expand mode, this now becomes an attenuator.
No.
No.
You have to hit the attenuate button.
I'm sorry. Yep, you got to hit the attenuate button. And that now turns the makeup gain into a cut feature.
So now you're cutting from 0 to minus 6
to
dB.
minus 6 dB when you're in the expansion mode. Or no, even
when you're in attenuate.
When you're in attenuate.
So you can have it in expansion mode
or
and
compression
still
mode.
leave it in boost, or turn it to attenuate to reduce.
To reduce. There
so
you
can go either way. So basically the attenuate button turns your makeup gain into a 12 dB minus 6 to 0 or 0 to plus 6, depending which frequency, which mode you're in.
Right. And all of that is right in the beautiful manual that when you buy one of these things, you can read for yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, so there we go. So that's what we got there. And then we have our makeup gain. You just heard what that does. Then we have a ratio 1.25 to 1, 1.5 to 1, 2 and 4 to 1. We have our attack in release here. And then next to that, we have a saturation transformer. So we can turn it on and off with this little button here, okay? And that gives us how much saturation we want, and we'll demonstrate this. But what we found is once you get above about number 2, it becomes kind of crunchy. If you want it to be transparent, you want it on minimum or maybe the first click. Anything above that is, I guess, maybe more used for more special effects. And if you really want to crunch things up.
And in saturation mode, it's third order harmonics. Third order harmonics are always on.
Always on. And then you can also layer on top of that the second order harmonics here with this little drop down box.
Either low or high,
or you could turn it off. Or on the hardware unit, you hold the on button long press and it will automatically switch that. You can also put it pre the compressor expander or post the compression expander as well. Right?
Yep. Okay. That's everything.
So that's everything. Yeah, so that's it. So now what we're going to do, we're going to listen to a basic drum groove here. We got all these tracks running to just a pair of faders on the console. There is no other hardware inserted anywhere. The bus compressor on the console deactivated. The master insert with the Neve master bus transformer, all of that deactivated. So all we're listening to is just the Mammut, right? That's all we're listening to here, okay?
Yep.
So we're going to listen to it on some drums. We'll cycle around a bunch of stuff. We'll shut it off. We'll talk about what we're hearing. Get your good pair of headphones or get your studio monitors with your subwoofer. And, right?
Bypassed right now.
We're in bypass mode. No, this is bypass mode. This will be on. So we'll start in bypass mode. Let's play back and then dial this thing in a little. Hey there, friend. I hope you're loving the video. Guess what? We're now in 2025 and I have some super exciting news to share with you. I'm officially accepting new clients for mixing and I'm on the lookout for talented artists just like you. Head on over to mixingmusicanalog.com. The link will be in the description box below to check out some of my latest work. Once you've had a look around, shoot me an email and let's schedule a Zoom call to chat about your music and how we could take it to the next level. Now let's get back to the video.
I think it's
We'll just start with the compressor off. Let's just deal with the low shelf, the variable shelf EQ and just give you a feel for what that does. Then we'll get into the compressor expander. So without even touching the compressor expander, because it's turned off right now, what I hear, we'll see what Dave thinks as well, what this thing really does is it gives you that, under that kick drum, that real low, girthy kind of thing, and it makes it so impactful, but it doesn't flub, it doesn't fart out, it's just tight and focused.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's a very, and also too, but using the two shelf things is you're focusing those frequencies. So like you're not like when you're using a regular shelf and you're boosting everything into the high pass. With this thing, you're curving it down at the bottom before it hits the high pass.
Right, exactly.
Which is,
and by using the low and the high, you're kind of sharpening, widening that boost, or you're narrowing the. Think of it almost as kind of like narrowing the cue, if you can visualize that, to get more of a point. So now let's turn on the compressor. We'll start with the compression mode here, and we'll start on, I want to start on a soft knee maybe, and we'll just see what we can do here for a little bit of compression.
Take the makeup gain down.
And we'll take the makeup gain down here. Here we go.
I like it.
Right. It's in compression mode. It's great on a slow attack slow attack, fast release, kind of typically how you would set up a kind of a drum bus compressor, so to speak. We're only doing 1.5 to 1. We're in about 3 or 4 dB of compression here. But again, it just retains that really nice punch, right?
Mm-hmm.
But where I think the beauty of this thing lies is in the expander. Right, that's where it's. I love it in expansion mode. Let's just switch to expansion and let's just see what it does then. So we're exaggerating the settings a little bit just so it comes across a little bit better on YouTube. But this thing, it really is program material dependent, meaning you got to really shape this. You can shape this a million different ways depending on what's going through it.
Yeah.
But to me, on expand mode with the attenuate, now that turns that makeup gain into like a reduce, like a cut feature, cutting up the amount of it, so you're not farting it out. Let's give it a little bit. Want to do a little bit of harmonics here? Let's do a little bit of harmonics.
Also, too, the one thing is when you go to a faster attack, you're getting a little bit more of that harmonic out of it, and this unit. You want that, especially like in the expand mode. Like I said, when we were playing with it before too, it's like it seems like in the expand mode, the faster attack works better.
Works better. And that's a little bit backwards to what you would typically think. You're not really cutting off that transient at all. It just gives it some more.
It's actually boosting it.
Yeah, it feels like it gives it more
and then with the faster attack too, you're getting that little bit of harmonic punch to it, which is nice. And then when you bring in the harmonics, it really let's deal with just the second order harmonics. We'll keep the third order. Let's keep the second order off, and I'll show you what happens when you push it a little too much. So you can hear it starts to fart out. So farting out.
What we found is like the first 2 clicks, that's kind of like the sweet spot on this thing. I mean, a lot of flexibility.
Yeah. I mean, for
A
me,
lot of flexibility.
for me on just the drum loop that you got running here, I liked it better in compression mode myself, because it just enhanced the thump of it, but without adding all the harmonics to it. I liked it better in compress mode in this particular source. Was like I said, this is not a unit that you're going to set and forget and just feed stuff into.
No.
It's incredibly programmed.
Yeah, well, that's what I like about it. I mean, you could really, whatever you really need for a particular project or a particular set of tracks, you could dial in here. Let's now move over to something other than a drum loop. Let's run like a pop mix. It's pretty bass heavy, low bass, low kick drum. Let's try that. Let's start with it off here, and let's just kind of play around with that. Let me loop this around a little so we're not too far out. Okay, here we go. Let's listen to some pop music, and this time we'll won't stop and talk as much. You guys get the vibe of what this thing is doing now. So I just love about it. It's not overly, I wouldn't say overly hyped is not the right term, but it doesn't muddy up that real low end. No. It just takes that real low subby thing and just kind of brings it up and tightens everything together, right?
It focuses it really well.
It really does. Yeah. I mean, again, and this is compression mode now. I just dig it, and I dig it in expansion mode, man. Expansion to me is where it's at. I mean, that just sounds freaking great, man. Sounds great.
What I'm seeing with it is when you speed up the attack, you're getting more of the harmonics. When you soft knee it, it makes that transition more gentle into it. So like when you're in expand mode, it definitely sounds better fast attack, soft knee to me.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree.
So like, but you're right too. Is like when it's in compression, it really it tightens up the low end, gives it a nice focus.
Yep.
When you put it in expansion, it pushes that low end, but it's not overly hyping it. You know what I mean?
No, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how to describe what the
It's-
hell it's doing. Again, and on YouTube, I don't know how well this is going to come across, but I'm just telling you, it just adds that real bottom thick, tight, focused, punchy thing that doesn't fart out or get flubby. But you gotta tweak it a little. But once you get it, and it's not really hard to get it, as you can tell.
it's not hard. Like I said, you do have to tweak it a little bit to get to it. But
let's go to another kind of another kind of a bass heavy kind of a thing, like a dance track. This dance track is pretty cool. Let's check this out. Well, again, we'll shut off the thing first. Let's just see what this is doing.
yeah,
Man,
right there, that was it.
So like you just kind of poke around and you just go, bup, 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 you hit a few buttons, you go, wow, that's it. Leave it alone. Don't touch it. On this thing, there's no plugin that does that.
No, I was sitting here before. I was trying to think, if you were going to try to build a plug-in chain to do what this thing does,
I got to tell you,
it would take like 5.
but I don't even know, because I've always struggled with doing exactly what this thing does.
Yeah.
I've used subharmonic generator plugins. I've used subharmonic generated hardware. I've used different types of EQs, hardware and software that has a really girthy kind of a thing. Nothing does what this thing does. And this has so much flexibility that any source, we're using stuff that's really low end, heavy source material, so it comes across on YouTube. But we'll pop up a jazz track next, or a country track, a little bit more less low end, and you'll still hear how it just gives that subtle enhancement. Really great. We gotta listen to that one more time.
Yeah, I want you to put the saturation and play with it on that. I don't think it's necessary on this one, but I want to hear what
it does. Okay, let's do it. Let's go.
The saturation, when you push it, took all the good stuff it was doing in a low end away.
Because it's a little too much.
Yeah,
it's a little too much.
Yeah, it was like, oh, let's take all that beautiful low end thump you just made.
Yeah. So if you were doing like a special, if you wanted to, put this on a track where you wanted to kind of just blend it underneath or something as an effect.
Yeah,
I think it's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. You know,
Badass, man.
You know what I just
That's
thought of?
badass.
You know what I just thought of? You put this in a DJ rig.
Yeah. Wow.
You know what I mean?
It's an expensive, it's an
Yeah,
expensive piece for a DJ
but
rig.
you put this in a DJ rig,
Yeah.
and like you got a really good like subwoofer on the. You're literally gonna blow people right off the dance floor.
Yeah, this thing's really great. Okay,
It's amazing.
let's try one more source material because we're getting on. We're a little over 30 minutes here. Let's go to like just like a country, kind of a country rocky kind of a thing, just to see what that's going to kind of do, just so you could hear it on something a little different than just real low end bassy kind of a thing. So let's do that. Let's just play it and see what we do. Let's turn off the harmonics here for a minute. So it can be super subtle.
Yeah.
And then, when we were first pushing it, you even said, yeah, it's a little much. It's like, yeah, it's a little much. But you can, again, you can dial back the gain a little bit and you can just get what you're looking for.
But what you're hearing, and especially in this track, is when it's out,
the track fault, the whole low end falls apart.
Whole low end, it's gone. It's not there.
It's gone.
I mean, like, it's in the track. It's just whoever mixed or mastered this or whatever the situation is with this, they just didn't push the low end into it.
Right.
And so, like, if you need to add it in, this is a good way to do it. I mean, the information's there. You're just enhancing the information that's there. But
for sure.
But on a track like that, you don't, like, unlike the dance song, you don't want to push that deep bottom
because it's already got a lot of low end material.
Yeah.
But if you're really looking for that real low subby thing, again, you're working on dance or electronic music, you're going to get or 808s or those kinds of things.
Whereas on this track, you want to focus that low end, which you're not hearing.
Right.
So like roll it again and just in and out it the way you have it set now.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's cool, man.
You are right, though, especially like depending on the program material, but on every single one of the full tracks that we played with, the expand mode is where it's at.
I liked it. The
expand mode is where it's at on this end. But I was just thinking too, like, if you had a program source with runaway low end, you could use this exactly the opposite of the way we're using it right now. You go to your gain, you take your gain down, use your high pass, focus your frequencies, and then put it in compress mode.
Right.
And use that to, like, basically like you would a multi-band compressor on the low end, and use that to pull the low end back.
Yeah, pull all that low end and just focus a certain set of frequencies that you want to poke out.
Yeah, I mean, as far as like being a low end shaper, we're basically using it to enhance low end in all of these examples. But if you did have a runaway low end, you could use this to control that and pull it back.
Sure, and maybe we'll do that in another video. We'll explore a little bit more with this. We just wanted to show you our first reaction to this thing. Now, again, it's not cheap. It's $3,500 US. Yeah. This is not a cheap piece of equipment, and so, but you know, it's one of those unique pieces of gear that's a great, I could see you using this on virtually every single project in different amounts depending on what you're working on. And in today, especially with modern music today, the low end is so incredibly important, and getting the low end tight and focused and not flubby or muddy is always a challenge, This really solves that problem.
I could see this going on your master bus.
Yeah.
After all of your EQ. I mean, probably before your bus compressor, but after all of your EQ, this comes in last, and you use this to just focus in the low end only. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yep. And because, like I said, it's very subtle. I mean, like when you look at the unit, you expect it to be this monster, you know.
Yeah, well, it can get kind of aggressive, but it doesn't. It's not.
It's only giving you 3 dB of booster cut on the low end. It's only giving you You know, it's when you were pushing the compressor hard, it was only hitting 6 dB of compression. Yeah. It's only giving you up to 4 to 1 ratio. Yeah. It's not an aggressive unit, but it's doing exactly what you need it to do.
Yeah, I think it's really cool and super unique.
Yeah.
So again, you can check the link in the description box below. Again, it's not an affiliate link. This is a really unique piece of gear that I think, even though it's pricey, and it is.
If you have a need for this,
well, I don't know, man. I have a need for that. I mean, I love what that does to that real subsonic thing that I haven't been able to get with harmonic generators and stuff. I've never been able to achieve that. Yeah, this somehow magically does it. Again, I don't know how the hell the voodoo under the hood what it's doing, but it's really cool.
I mean, honestly, there's not a lot of voodoo to it. It's just a very finely tuned instrument. Of saying it's not, there's no voodoo there. It's just, we're going to take this thing and we're going to focus this thing on the low end. We're going to give you the tools you need to control that low end and go to town.
And that's it. Right.
And also too, but like I say, but keep it at except for the saturation, which is ludicrous once you get a 2 or 3. Right. You know, it's giving you the tools you need in the range you need them to be in.
Right. Right.
You know, and
it's a cool piece of gear, man.
It's a really cool piece of gear.
Go check it out. Links will be in the description box below. Thank you to Raphael over at Zombie Recording and Zombie Rec for sending it over. Probably gonna have to talk to him about how I can somehow get this into my studio and send the guy a check or give him my credit card or whatever.
See how it works, yeah.
So let me know what you think in the comments below. If you guys ever check this out, what do you guys think of it? Go out, check out their website. And until the next video, I've been Dave and he's been Dave with Mixing Music Analog and mixingmusicanalog.com. Thank you so much for watching, everybody, and we will see you in the next video.
Peace.